Africa features changing, reaching you here from a studio saying Mando City. This morning, there's lots to talk about. And talking about the Delta attack, the series of kidnapping going on in Nigeria, particularly in Kaduna State, and lots more generally more like the state of the nation currently. And we have Akinsile, Akinniran in the house with us this morning. Good morning and welcome on DAYBREAK Africa.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you guys.
Same here. Anyways, I'm very sure you're acquainted with all that's going on concerning insecurity, the hardship of the whole economy and all. So first off, I would like us to begin with the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. Looking at the series of kidnaps that have happened recently, also the military attack that happened in Delta State. What do you have to say so far?
Let me start to say good morning, viewers at home again. It's very unfortunate that we find ourselves in this mess. And I want to start by the system of, let me say, blame game. Because if you don't blame anybody about this insecurity, that means we are not heading anywhere. And anything security of any nation still at the bottom of the government. It shows the lackadaisical attitude of our government to the yearnings, to the demands, to the peaceful coexistence of Nigerians. How on earth would about 287 students be kidnapped from a school? This same Nigeria. I am wondering, how did we get it so bad as this? In the late days of Chibok, they said because we were not prepared. After Chibok, we have had so many after that. Today, 287, I think is the highest in the history after Chibok issue. Then that's number one. Let's go to the military. The Nigerian military soldiers that were killed, they are not individuals. That's Nigeria. Nigeria had been murdered because they don't go there by themselves. They went to represent Nigeria. I weep each day I see the level at which our insecurity is going on a daily basis. And I was privileged to watch a clip by BBC of recent when these kidnappers were being interviewed, and they were bold to say their minds. If BBC and their correspondents can go to that level, what is our government doing to save Nigerians from this mess? I stand to be corrected. In the last 9 months of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, we have had over 4,000 cases of kidnapped. When and why? 9 months in office, 4,000 kidnapped cases. Something is wrong somewhere. I'm going to say that we are not security prepared. Is that a question? And I remember during the campaign, they said Tinubu will manage the economy, Shetima will manage the security, or perhaps vice versa. Today, what are we experiencing? Where are we heading to? I am afraid. And I want to thank those guys that are now into Japa. Perhaps they know that the fate of Nigeria is dim and they don't want to be victim. That's why they were going. Myself, I'm thinking of leaving now because I am trying to weigh the pros and the cons of staying in Nigeria. And I want to say Nigeria is no longer safe, even for the hands, not to talk of human beings.
Naturally, I know we Nigerians used to play the blame games. Now, there have been series of attacks in Kaduna State, particularly. I tend to wonder, we have the 287 school children, and then another 14 being adopted, and then recently another 87 being adopted. Now, I tend to wonder, is this more like, people tend to believe it's politically driven all around, but is it more like the security personnel in Kaduna State are more like slacking? Are we really see the governor himself, person of Governor Sani, is not really getting works done? Because at this point, people are trying to really understand what exactly is going on.
Left to me, Kaduna is a special place. During the reign of the outgone governor, we had series of cases of such kidnapping, but not as much as this. Perhaps the government officials are trying to work with these evildoers because of the ransom involved. Those kidnappers will not be the only one to share the ransom. They may be, and since their security votes in Kaduna. Maybe that's why they allow all these things to happen. When you have a serious-minded governor, he will never allow such in his own state. I want to believe it's not a business venture. That's why they now turn it to art. Because the last one, they know how much they paid, and those people that received it, perhaps the cohorts, now they want to see it as business venture. And little can I blame the president. If it is happening at every state, perhaps we could say there's a problem. But it's peculiar to Kaduna and maybe Zamfara.
So you believe somehow?
I want to believe it's not a business venture. They know they know what goes out and what comes in.
And the governor is to be blamed.
Perhaps he has everything stopped on his table because he is the chief security officer. He knows what he's paying out, and since he knows what he's paying out, and he knows perhaps the returns he's getting from it. If not,
don't you think there's probably little he could do, you know, bearing the fact he has no power over military personnel, even in his state?
He is not the only one. Every power of security is given to every governor of every state in Nigeria. And if other governors can manage their crisis, I don't know why it's peculiar to him. So I want to give it to him that he should be held responsible to everything that happens as regards insecurity in that state. The governor of that state should be held responsible. That's my own. In the other way around, perhaps they have some saboteurs trying to pull his government down. Then the question is, what is he doing? What is he doing to remedy the situation? What is he doing to arrest the situation? Because it's becoming unbecoming. All in a year, 287, 14 of 16, and another 87. All within 3 months. Something is wrong somewhere. Except we want to be deceiving ourselves. And he should be the best position to answer that question. That particular thing that is wrong in that state, the governor should be able to answer. That's my own on that.
Well, some people are of the opinion that actually, just like you said, this has become a business, probably to some rich people, folks out there who are benefiting from this insecurity. Are you? Do you also believe that? And also, looking at the benefits, what exactly do you think they'll be benefiting? On the other hand, is it that our federal government, or the government in general, let me not put it on them, is it that the government in general do not even have the capacity to identify these people who are, will I say, facilitating these actions?
I have said this severally, and I will still repeat myself. When they want to try to be military with the kidnappers, someone came out that let them negotiate, and that's Gumi. Gumi has been the chief negotiator when it comes to kidnapping in Nigeria. That means he knows them by name, by address, by location. And that should not be difficult for Nigerian government to handle. That's number one. Like I told you, I watched the BBC clip on this kidnapping. They got to them, they went to their house, they spoke with them, they interviewed them, they spoke their mind. If BBC can go to that length, I am afraid, if truly we have government in Nigeria, that they cannot do more. Not only to negotiate with them, but let them know the reason why they are doing this rubbish in Nigeria. Why are you kidnapping? And do you know the funniest part of the story? When I was young, I used to hear bomba bomba in our area, which simply means kidnappers. But the real kidnapping started in Nigeria in 1999. So that means before 1999, there have not been these outrageous cases of kidnapping by this Nigeria data when they said they are demanding for their rights. Today, it has now become a daily activity. A daily activity is that anybody will just wake up one night, one day, and begin to say, I have kidnapped, and Nigeria will be celebrating them. So we are now driving, where I'm driving at is that, as of today, kidnapping in Nigeria is as recent as about 25 years old. We can still correct it, we can still stop it, only if we have the political will to do so.
How do we begin?
Please.
How do we begin then?
So simple. We have to be proactive. Let there be policy that if you notice that you are a kidnapper, whether you are directly involved or indirectly involved, that should be a sentence.
We have policies for that.
There is none. Why? You know why I said so? Once, let me ask you a question. In the last 25 years, can you just tell me a kidnapper that has been convicted?
We have the Evans situation.
Evans, what happened? Has he been convicted? That's the question.
But
He has
he's been
not.
dealt with.
Huh?
He's been dealt with.
He has not been convicted, and there's not been any punishment for Evans as of today. I stand to be corrected. Go and find out. And do you remember when the issue of Evans started? Over 5 years ago. Over. And to date, no judgment against or for him. And you say we are in Nigeria, a serious thing country? We're not. I remember there was a guy who was alleged to have involved in kidnapping, or he said they wanted to go and bomb a place. It happened last year. Yet today the case has been resolved. He has been penalized. He has been punished. I am sure in the last 20 years, every penny the boy will be raising will be to pay his debts. But never in Nigeria. So we are driving at, if there is a case like this, they shouldn't take government or our judiciary system to sanction, to punish, or to even make statements about such acts within a year or two. Evans is the most pronounced of all cases of kidnapping in Nigeria that we say we have arrested. Over 5 years after, nothing has been done. Are we serious as a nation? The answer is no. Then, when this, do you know the funniest part the last administration did? They said this Boko Haram, they are going to give them amnesty. I have never had in history. Before, during, and after. And I love it so much when the maybe President Minister for Defense said it. How will you give amnesty to people that have killed Nigerians and even the Nigerian militaries? How will you give them amnesty? Are you helping the country? Guess what? Today, thank God that we have a better Inspector General of Police that is trying to sanitize our police system today. Do you know that some of them that were incorporated to the Nigerian police and know the problem we have in Nigerian police? One of them went to collect bribe and he was later dismissed. I have the video. Why? How would you do that? He said because they have repented. That's why I like put. He said, it is my duty to kill them. It's the duty of God to forgive them. That's how to deal with kidnappers and evildoers in every society. Give them the necessary judgment. It will serve as deterrent to others. But in Nigeria, because it's my brother, because it's my kinsman, because it's my tribal, and it came from my tribal knowledge. Therefore, we have to forgive or temper justice with mercy. Nobody does that when it comes to evil things. Until we realize that in Nigeria, then we can be better for it.
Now, at some point, you made it seem as if Sheikh Gumi, being a sympathizer, actually made
sympathizer or accomplice.
Okay. I would like to use mediator.
I don't want to. We call him mediator. I call him accomplice. Okay. Because he will be forced to come out and say, "Let us negotiate." Why is he always happy when it comes to negotiation? Why? He's a suspect. I call him a suspect. I stand to say that anyway.
And you think he should be arrested? Or?
I think he should. He has something gaining. Okay, let me ask you a question. If he's not benefiting from the system, why is he begging or asking for negotiation at all times? He's part of the negotiation. So definitely a certain percentage must go to him. Evil is happening in our society, and you are only one coming to appeal to seek for negotiation at all times. Something is wrong somewhere. Except we want to deceive ourselves as Nigerians.
Now, we have had issue of terrorism spanning in different names,
yes.
Kidnapping, Boko Haram,
banditry,
and all that. Now,
Fulani men and the rest.
Indeed, this has spanned over 3 administrations. I mean, more than that anyway, but we know it has been
peculiar in the
last 3 administrations.
Let's say 10 years.
Good luck.
And that's towards the end of Goodluck era, 8 years of Buhari and present administration.
Yeah. Now
I'll be the highest anyway.
With all this situation, do you still believe this is political? I mean, how political can this be for 3 different administrations? From the PDP to the APC, and still on the APC and all that. Do you think this is really political, or is it more like the government itself has failed us as a nation, and then people are really just taking justice and taking arms, trying to work out things for themselves? Now, going through the interview, you made mention of the BBC and all that. It was obvious they made it seem as if hungry, tend to really cause them to pick up arms and then storm the street and just do what they had to do to survive. Because the truth is, if everything was really placed in order, I don't think there will be a necessity or a need, for one to really pick up arms and go into kidnapping little school children. What's your take? Do you think it's political or just more like the government has failed?
If I said it's political, that means I'm not being fair. But the truth of the matter is corruption.
Corruption.
That's the major brain behind it. Imagine myself going to university, studying so hard, and trying to look for a job, but I've not gotten one. Another boy who is the son of another rich person in the society, perhaps he got the money through, maybe he'll gotten money, but he has the influence. He placed his child at an office, and I went for an interview. That same boy was to interview me. I did not have half of what I had, either intellectual capacity or academic pursuit. And I discovered this. How do you want me to be happy? You cannot. Then the next thing, as an idle man, is the devil's workshop. The next thing that will come to your mind is to be acting funny. Corruption in Nigeria is alarming, and it starts from the head. And the funniest part of it, if government has not encouraged corruption, there won't be corruption in Nigeria. So we have to blame the government for encouraging corruption. And I'll give instances. That's where the political issue has to come in. Do you know that the present administration, in the past, over 40% of them had EFCC issues, and they still made the cabinet? How? And the funniest part of it, good or bad, are you aware that our president has also been accused of corruption, but vindicated anyway? That's another angle to it. To even make the issue funny, I read and I had the interview of our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who said it, that I met corruption in Nigeria. So it's an established fact that there is corruption in Nigeria, and it's now growing on daily basis. Guess what? In less than 6 months of becoming a minister, about 2 ministers have been accused of corruption, to the extent the president took it upon himself to make sure one of them was sacked. Then what are we now saying? Go and study every parastatal. Go and study every arms of government in Nigeria today. You will discover that there's an element of corruption in every system in Nigeria. So the brain behind all this insecurity in Nigeria was as a result of corruption. And this morning someone was telling me that he was going to a place, he saw an estate of about 30 houses, confirmed houses. When they say an estate of, let me say, I want to call it, what do you call it, edifice in the, and we now ask who is the person. They mention the name. What is he doing for a living? Nobody knows. Someone that is not known either by law or by anything, and he can access such house of worth about 3 billion naira worth of estate. How did you get the money? Until we begin to ask that question, that to every Nigeria, you must be able to explain how you got your money. As of today, I have been working in the last 18 years as government worker. Before now, I knew my salary from day one to today. I started with 15,000 naira salary, and in my 18 years in service, I've not reached 100,000 salary. So how on earth would you put all my salaries together in 18 years? I know how much it is. So how can I begin to build a billion naira worth of house? It's not done. So until Nigerians begin to ask questions, whether you are extremely rich or extremely poor or averagely rich, you must be able to explain how you got your money. But today, go and ask every billionaire we have in Nigeria. None of them could explain how they got their money. As of today, we have some Nigerians whose their net worth is in trillions now. Let them come out to tell Nigerians how they got the trillions of naira. So tell me why some Nigerians will not be feeling bad to involve themselves in antisocial behaviors or in this so-called unwanted ways of life. As though law has stated it, no matter the situation, you must always be a responsible person. That is why some of us stand by what we know, and we say we will not stop to tell Nigerians the truth. But to those who cannot withstand it, who can no longer bear it, that's why they involve themselves in such attitude. Perhaps they are youths, and you know, when we talk about restiveness, it's peculiar to the youths. And that is why we are now appealing to Nigerians and government of Nigeria that employ these youths. An idle hand is the devil's workshop. Today you will see a man of 65 years trying to claim 54 just to ensure he's still in service. And whereas his graduate child still at home, maybe taking care of domestic animals, where would they be employed? I am a victim. When after I came back from youth service, I was in my father's house trying to take care of my mother's domestic animals. Not that I don't want to work, but it was not available. And I was doing everything money possible to get one. I could not. So if I want to be like the youth of today, the next thing I could do is to be frustrated and get involved in those activities of let me call it evil activities. But today it has become things of the past. And with my experience, I can tell any youth that if you can remain dedicated, committed, sky is the limit for you. You don't need to involve yourself in this antisocial or unwanted manners. Just remain focused. Think of something and work with it. God on your side, you get it. If I can get it, anybody can get it. So that's my message for them.
Indeed.
Anyways, you know, it's unfortunate to know that we actually have been on this for a very long time and it doesn't look like it's going away. I mean, just one of the Western leaders some time ago stated it clearly that the black man, the black leaders can never be free from corruption or greed or anything that has to do with negative form of leading. So do you think that he's actually right, considering what is playing out right now? Do you think that we can ever meet an end to the end of corruption in Nigeria, or maybe curbed in a way?
Okay.
Because it looks like it's actually getting worse and we don't know what might even happen in the nearest future if this continues to propel.
Whether you like it or not, as of today, I wouldn't know of tomorrow. Nobody can stop corruption. As of today, and I will tell you why. One of my leaders, Honorable Joseph Akinniran, said one thing one day. I have been hearing, I have been saying, because I've been in the riverine, but I've not been able to think about it. That if you look at fish, if fish wants to be spoiled, it will start from the head. And how do you know? When you see the gills becoming green, you know that the fish are spoiled. The same thing applicable to the Nigerian government. If you check, if the head is good today, I can assure you, in another 4 years, Nigerian government will get it right. But the truth of the matter is we cannot get it right. And I will tell you why. As of today, like I said earlier, if the head is being alleged, even it is unheard of that you could take your president to the court for some activities that are questionable. We had it in Nigeria. Same government of today. To the next thing, if the president head and the next person to him is the chief of staff, could also be alleged, and you came out to say he is innocent, despite daily accusation against him. That's true. All your ministers, they have spent about 6 months in office today. Have they come back? Have you asked them, rather, if they don't come back, have you asked them, come and give me your report? What have you done in the last 6 months in your office? What is I call it, there's a name I always give you, a progress report of your office. Come and give me. Let me see what you have done that could convince me that you have been doing well. Nothing of such. And to those that have been accused of corruption, how many of them has he invited or has he been able to put that one aside? Then the next one is when Emefiele was arrested anyway, and has making some open confessions, and even as of today, nobody can come out and say, I want to come and bail Emefiele because of the evil things he has done in Nigeria. The government of the day even admitted. How much have they collected from me? It was even worse to hear when the CBN said they have not seen any alert of money collected from these corrupt individuals in the last 5 years. And we have been hearing 5 billion, 60 trillion, so trillion, but none has been recorded in the Central Bank of Nigeria. And you say Nigeria will be better, except we are deceiving ourselves. So the truth of the matter is that if Nigeria wants to get it right today, let them start from the head. Simple.
Now let's talk about the attack on military personnel and the alleged reprisal attack, which the military tend to debunk lately. They're talking about the Ogar incident in Delta State. What's your reaction generally?
I don't want to go into that because I'm not a military man. I won't say more than that.
All right. Heading towards the other areas, talking about the hardship in Nigeria. I mean, we all know what we are facing in Nigeria currently. Even to feed is difficult. Considering the kind of policies that the government have been making, the moves they've been making towards investments and getting investors from foreign countries to come invest in the country, and let us not even forget the fact that what we're just talking about, insecurity, is still on the high. Where do you think we are at right now?
It's rather unfortunate, and I will tell you this once. I want to ask a question. Perhaps you cannot answer, maybe Nigerians can answer. What is working in Nigeria today? Just tell me one. Agriculture, education, health, power, governance. What is working presently in Nigeria? Not one, not even one. So we are not getting it right in all standards. And based on your question, I want to say this. Until we begin to identify our problems one after the other and deal with them, we are not making any headway. The hunger in town today is alarming. And the rate at which the hunger is killing people is, I don't know what to say about that. People are dying of hunger on daily basis now. And those who are those people that are dying? Perhaps they don't want to open up, because hunger will give room for health issues. Hunger will give room for mental disorder and mental illness. Hunger will give room for psychological imbalance, among others. And by the time you begin, one of it begin to happen to you, you will know that you are in trouble, God forbid. And at the same time, do you know that the present hunger in Nigeria has been reducing the lifespan of Nigerians? Because by the time you want to get back from the hunger, certain things are in your system must have gone, that you cannot be able to help anymore. Take for instance, someone is having ulcer, and such person has not been eating well. What is the end result? And I can tell you today that over 10% of Nigerians are ulcer patients. With the hunger in town now, what is the fate of ulcer patients? So that means we are sending them to the early grave. And what is the cause? Governance. So I have looked into it very well, and there's no way the government of the day can exonerate themselves from the bitterness, from the hardship, from the problem Nigeria is facing today. And why are we having this problem? It starts from a place: bad policy. Since the government has come on board, I have not seen one policy that is favorable to Nigerians, or let me call it masses oriented. That I've not seen one. Now let me shock you with one of these statements I want to make. Do you know that the first subsidy that has been removed has come back? If you want to say no, I will tell you why.
Some people are of the opinion that it never left.
It has never. As of today, the landing cost of fuel is 1,445 naira. And we still buy fuel for 670, 680, 700 naira. By the time you take 700 naira from 1,445, you still have 745. So that means government is still subsidizing our fuel with 745 naira. Who is deceiving who? And government are so much love them. They have come out to say yes, we still subsidize it. So where are we driving at? So when you know we still subsidize it, why do you remove it in the first place? And I want to tell you, the problem of Nigeria started the very moment it was pronounced that fuel subsidy has been removed. That's the genesis of the problem we have today. And today now, as at last December, the inflation rate in Nigeria was about 25%. As of today, it's 38%. And don't forget, like I said, in 1986, the inflation rate in Nigeria rose to 47%. And in 6 months, it was corrected back to 13%. Why? When you have a bad policy that is not working, the only thing you can do is to reverse it. If you know that this policy I'm making use of and it's not working for Nigerians, it's not working as we expect, the next thing is to reverse. Just like someone going to Lagos, maybe from Akure, and you find yourself at a Lokoja road. What do you need to do? If you are going forward, you can never get to Lagos. The only thing you can do is to turn back and face Lagos. It may take a longer time, but you get to your destination. So if we know that the present policies we are using in Nigeria is not working for us, stop it, come up with new one. That's another school of thought. Now let me give you another one that will even shock you more. Do you know that this artificial inflation we're experiencing today in Nigeria was to favor some individuals?
You call it artificial inflation?
I call it artificial because it was not man-made. Some people generated it just to favor them. The present inflation we have in Nigeria was artificial, was not by any nature. We don't have war, we don't have any problem. Like I said the other time, as of today, we have enough foods in Nigeria. Isn't that we don't have the money to purchase it? Go to anywhere today, you will see food.
But do you have any facts backing your claim that this was
I may not be able to have any facts, but I'm still talking as a Nigerian. I have freedom to express myself. And I will tell you one funny thing. That there is a philosophy, there is a school of thought that I know. If I think, yeah, I want to be practical this time around. Last year, someone told me that if I want to make money as I want, I should go and buy dollar and keep it. Last year, a friend told me, because it's the easiest way of making money, that if I could, even if I get $1,000 and keep, that by this time next year, which is, he told me about 9 months ago anyway, he said if I keep $1,000, that I will make enough money from it. If I had known, I would have listened. But I thought he was joking because the new government has come on board. He's a new sheriff. He's going to bring something new. I never knew it would go the way that person has predicted. So where am I driving at? If you want to make a government has done it in Nigeria before, that he made quick money, but Nigeria never noticed it. When dollars were being sold for, I think it was 65 naira then. It was 65 naira per dollar. He now did one thing. He let me say the minimum wage was made 7,000 naira, 7,500 naira, and a month after, the dollar rose from 65 naira to 100 naira. By implication, if you have anything worth 65 naira in the following month, is now 100 naira. You think your money has increased, but government has taken it in another dimension. Only an economist will understand what I'm trying to say. Because when you have 1,000 naira as your money, by time it is another 1 month, when dollar is now 100 naira, your 1,000 can no longer be 1,000 again. Will be like a 650,000 and 650 naira. It has reduced. So it has reduced in value. It has reduced in what? And the same thing is applicable now. Today, where dollar is being sold for 1,500, 600 in the last few days. Now I think it's another 1,000 for 1,005. Do you know that same dollar in the last 6 months was about 900 naira, 800 naira in the last 6 months? So what I'm saying is that people have made some money from this little period that the dollar increased. It's another theory in economics that some people are using. Take for instance, a government released at rate of 900 naira, release $1 million for you, and you keep it. In another 3 months, is now 1,004, and you sell it. By implication, you have made 400 naira on a dollar times 100 million. That's why they make their terrible money at the expense of the poor, at the expense of Nigerians. So that's why I said this corruption, until we think of how we can manage it, and the initiator of our problem are the bankers. They are the bankers, and they know the nitty-gritty of economy. They know the nitty-gritty of every foreign exchange in Nigeria, so they know how to handle it. So when evil happens to some of them, that's why some Nigerians will not blame anybody. Maybe evil not happen to Nigerians.
Amen.
Amen. Now we have had a storm hitting the Senate House recently. The Lingi statement create a very large uproar. People coming out in his defense. Someone coming out to say all he said was very good trash. Now amongst that period, we had statement of certain senators receiving 500 million. Which some came out to say there was nothing as that. It was probably propaganda and all that. Has an allegation, facing the Senate president, saying he received about 18 billion, a certain amounts that would cover probably 11 states in Nigeria. He may not receive it for certain constituency projects or things as such. And there have been lots of debunking and allegation. People coming out to say all these are more like a civilian coup, said a particular senator, against the Senate president and all that. There's been lots of drama going around lately amidst all. So what's your take on this particular drama dealing with our senators?
Thank you. I'm very happy for that. Though I'm not a senator, I'm not a legislator, so I'm free to talk as a Nigerian. You see, pardon is no longer a strength to Nigerians. Nigerians are aware. And Ningi has not been the first person that will expose pardon in Nigeria. It has been happening in the past. And we always know what will be the end result. They will be shanticized, they will be dealt with, and because Ningi never wanted to be part of them, that's why he came out to apologize. But he has done the damage. The truth has been revealed. How on earth will you be saying you want to do a ball for 295 million? Is it to cover all Nigerians, all Nigerian land? Or where on earth will you do a ball for 281 million naira? And you want to do like number of this reasonable number, about 400 of it, that will run to millions. We know they have padded it. But we thank God that Ningi has come out to expose them. Despite the way he exposed them, we know there's nothing we can do about it. I was watching this man from Ekiti State, Bamidele, when he was the leader of the house, when he was trying to defend them, that you can only say these things are no longer there if at the end of this year the projects were not done or commissioned. When you have inflated the corporate the project, not only inflated it, you have also made unreasonable, or let me call bogus amount on every project, that you know that the gains will come to you. Not only that, to even worsen it, I have seen a situation whereby our present government of the day, they have been, just like I said the other time, that our problem is corruption. The issue of Ningi is now, what is it? What is the brain behind it? Corruption. If we are still talking about corruption at the level of the cabinet members, we are still talking about another alleged corruption at the level of the legislator. And don't forget, in the past we have heard that judiciaries have been collecting money. And I don't want to involve myself in this terrible phase. But the truth of the matter is that corruption is a problem in Nigeria, and until we address it. So
as a question, you think Ningi's suspension was unjust and uncalled for?
Who am I to say that when they have done it? I can only say my mind, but that's not me to stand. But in fairness, he's supposed not to have exposed them if he knows that we apologize.
Well, in the spirit of seeing our minds, at some point I know you tried to shy away from the conversation when it comes to Delta State, but the truth is all eyes are on Delta State currently. 17 military personnel were said to be killed, actually not said to be killed.
That's been there. The videos are everywhere.
Yes, and there have been the military has come out to debunk certain alleged reprisal attacks, said by
government will not repress. There's no repressal in government policy.
All right,
but they are going to deal with those people.
Debunk such, and at some point people masses tend to actually fault the governor of Delta State, President Sheriff, if I get that right, trying to say he has not been really security conscious and really been invested in the situation of the state. That was why it came to this point. Now, do you share the same sentiment, and what exactly is your take as to the conflict between the military personnel and then the local government?
Like I said earlier, I still repeat myself. On this military issue, I reserve my comments.
All right. Just before we leave, because we're out of time, what are your words to Nigerians? How would you advise them to keep up in this situation we found ourselves?
As a Yoruba man, I will want to say this in Yoruba. I think Orlando, one of the popular late musicians, said it, that Nigerians, eku iroju, and I will tell Nigerians, eku iroju, don't be tired. I don't relent. Like I said some time ago, that not everything prayers we do. This time around we need action. But our action should be appropriate. Even if you go to farm now, it may not help you, because you must eat before the farm harvest comes. So therefore, let us keep our fingers crossed. This time will be over. But I pray all of us will survive it.
Amen.
But for Nigerians, let's just keep watching and let's see what God will do for us. But these evildoers, they will never go unpunished. I rest my case.
Thank you for coming
And
this
God
morning.
bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria indeed. Thank you for joining us once again.
It's my pleasure.
And to our viewers, thank you as well for joining us on this episode of Daybreak Africa. We know how things are out there, and we will just admonish that you keep up the good faith and hope for the future to get better soon enough. So we'll be signing out right now, and I am Angela Daku. See you again next time.
Do have a wonderful day and remain Ezekiel. Okay.